Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Season 12 has finally been announced. Apex Legends Defiance is the name, and it's time for us to take our preview and look ahead of what we can expect from this next season. We're going to have some official news from Respawn to go over, some developer interviews, and some leaks to go over as well. So let's just kick right off with the new legend. As always, every season we do get a new legend. This season is no exception to that. Maggie, or Mad Maggie, is going to be the new legend for Season 12. If you played back during Season 8, she was actually introduced first back then, as she was a partner in crime, I'll say, Defuse, and she is making the return to the Apex games. The story of the Aliens trailer was just released. It does give us a brief glimpse into her as a legend, and honestly, the trailer was pretty dope. I was expecting a little bit different tone for the trailer, but I do like that they went a little bit more of the serious route with her than she was back in Season 8, as back then her voice lines were pretty loud, and honestly they were quite frequent to the point of them being a little obnoxious. Respawn has already said that they've toned her down a little bit. That was mostly a glitch back then, they were saying, I guess, with her voice being just so loud and overpowering. As for Maggie's abilities, we do not know the specifics quite yet, but it does seem like she's going to have some sort of whip or blade type of thing with a shield, maybe, perhaps. We don't quite know yet. It also is rumored that she's going to have some sort of leg thing to kick down doors and be able to, like, shoot people with a shotgun on her leg. I don't know if this is actually true or not, but it could be interesting. We have also heard that she's going to have some sort of recon in her kit, so she will be able to track enemies in one way or another, or at least scan enemies in some aspect. We'll have to wait and see. We will get a lot more in the next week or so stay tuned for that. We now have Olympus map changes. We don't have any specifics for this, but we do know Olympus will be returning to the fold next season, and we can expect some updates to this map. It is only a rumor, and it was a while ago now, but apparently the city can actually disconnect and reconnect in different ways to have a different type of layout. I don't really expect this to be the case for Season 12 or Season of Defiance, but it would be pretty cool if Olympus could fall apart and then connect in different ways. So maybe you have something like Energy Depot next to Oasis. That type of thing could happen. I don't think this will actually happen. I think we'll get something more traditional where they'll probably adjust part of the map. It has been 5 seasons though since Olympus came out, which could mean we could be getting a major update. When Kings Canyon saw its major rework back in Season 5, that was also 5 seasons into the game's life cycle, so I am expecting a pretty substantial update to Olympus. What it will be though, we will find out in the next week or so. From the map changes, we are now going to be getting a new limited time mode, which is called Control, and it's basically like a domination type of game mode in Apex Legends. It's also the first game mode where you will be able to respawn infinitely, which will be really nice if you are trying to improve your gun skill, because you're actually going to be able to respawn in this mode, so you'll be able to have a lot more gunfights. It'll honestly just feel like a little bit better for the solo warriors out there, as you won't really have to worry about your team quite as much. It is going to be a 9v9 experience, which is pretty crazy because honestly in the past, Apex Legends and Respawn have stated that anything more than a 3v3 gets a little bit insane. We will have to wait and see how they balance it. Maybe you can only have one legend on your team out of 9. One slight disappointment or thing to worry about is going to be the fact that it is only limited. Hopefully we will get Control back in the future, or maybe they're just going to test it out for the first 3 weeks of the season and then bring it back with a little bit of a revamp. Not quite sure what they are going to do with it, but hopefully this content will be sticking around and it's not only temporary. From this, we have no new weapon this season. It's the first time since Season 7. I'm a little bit disappointed with this, but I think it's also okay. I'm okay with not getting a new weapon this season, so we don't have to adjust the meta once again. Having the meta kind of continue on from season to season this time around, I think is all right. And honestly, we've had a lot of new guns over the last couple seasons, so to take a season off, I have no issues with this. We don't know anything about the hop-ups yet, but we have seen a laser sight per the trailer. It was on an R301. I would expect this to be some sort of hop-up at minimum, and then we will probably also have a couple hop-up swaps. I could see some things going like Deadeye's Tempo or even Shatter Caps, but all in all, I don't really expect the hop-ups to be too much of a game changer this season. From this, we have a few things to mention on weapon changes. We do not have specifics from patch notes, but there was an interview done between Kijana Plays and John Larson at Respawn, who is the live balance designer, and they took a look at a few things. The big thing was the Rampage. There's no major changes for the Rampage announced for Season 12's launch because the data does not back up the Rampage needing an adjustment, they said. Apparently, the change that happened to the Rampage a few weeks ago was supposed to happen at Season 12, but they just pushed it out early since there was already a glitch with the Rampage. All in all, I'm somewhat disappointed in this. I would like to see a little bit of adjustments to the Rampage. It's just way too easy to use, but I do understand it does have a slower time to kill. It's not as competitive as like an SMG or even like the R301 or the Flatline. I just think the Rampage is way easy to use and it has a little bit too much range. But they did go on to mention LMGs as a whole, and they are always looking at how they can balance LMGs. In typical other games like Call of Duty, you would get slowed down when you're running an LMG. They don't really want to do this with Apex Legends since Apex has such a big emphasis on movement. It's definitely a tough thing that they will have to figure out, but they're always looking at LMGs, and it's really like the Spitfire, the Devotion, and of course the Rampage that they're looking at. From this though, they mentioned that they do not want Apex to be the R301 and Flatline Legends. They want to have a lot of viable alternative weapons like the Rampage, and it makes sense to me. Obviously, you don't want to be just using one gun all the time. And I actually think Apex as a whole has been pretty good in terms of balancing. A lot of the guns are usable. A lot of the legends are also usable. No info on care package weapons yet or gold weapons next season. I'm not really expecting too big of adjustment here, but I could see something like the Spitfire coming out and the Alternator coming out and them swapping them around. We will have to wait and see. Before we do get to legend changes, let's just briefly talk about tap strafing. It was mentioned a few months ago that they were going to remove it, and the community quickly stopped that from happening by speaking up, which I think was a good thing. Respawn still has stated that they want to do some sort of tuning to tap strafing. We don't really know what this is going to be, but they did say that, you know, they're not trying to rush into any changes, and they do not want to remove tap strafing completely. They really just want to adjust it a little bit. So they are trying to get feedback from the pros and like those movement god players out there, which I think is really good. They didn't rush into a decision. They want to get some more feedback, and it does show that they are listening. I think this will be a good thing overall. For the legend changes, first up is Pathfinder's passive. They just stated that they have no idea really what to do with Pathfinder. Pathfinder already has a very healthy pick rate, so to give him any sort of buff would not really make sense right now since he is being used a lot. I'm not really quite sure what they could do here. You know, they did talk about removing zip lines, like maybe Pathfinder could take zip lines down, but they also didn't really want to do that because obviously if you have a zip line down, you leave it down, it kind of makes you have a little bit of a choice. You know, can someone follow you on your zip line? I kind of get it, but we don't have anything coming for Pathfinder right now. They also briefly talked about Gibraltar and the fact that he is kind of picked out of necessity and he's not really a totally fun legend to play. This is especially the case for pubs in my opinion. They're not really sure what to do with the nerf of Gibby. They want to take out power of his offensive capability, so this would be like bubbling forward onto a team to make a push and try to wipe a squad. I get this. I think they really want Gibby's dome to be more of a support ability or a retreat ability or a reset ability. I think this is pretty good. It does show that they don't want to just nerf a legend just because he is used a lot. They want to nerf him or make an adjustment to him that makes sense. The last legend to briefly mention is going to be Crypto. We know we're going to get some sort of massive Crypto rework. The same person that I guess worked on Watson is also working on Crypto, and this does seem likely. Obviously, Crypto has been the same for like a year and a half now, maybe even longer, and the rumor is he's going to have some sort of way to throw his drone down, and this is what I saw on Twitter. I'm not really sure who it was that posted it, but if Crypto can't throw his drone down, it just stays there, and then he can start scanning. I think this could be pretty good. You know, you could throw the drone into the fight, and then you get a little bit more intel as you're approaching an engagement. I don't know if this is enough really for Crypto as a whole, but regardless, I'm just really excited for any sort of Crypto rework at this point, so I will definitely take it. Moving on and away from the gameplay things, we're going to have the cosmetics. There's going to be some sort of battle pass change, but to be honest, I don't really care about that too much. You know, skins aren't really content. The Hemlock should be the reactive level 100 and 110 skin, so that's exciting to see. If you're a Hemlock user, you will be getting that skin. The anniversary event is going to be the first 3 weeks of the season, and it's really just giving us some free stuff if you do log in during these 3 weeks. I'm not really sure about this. You can get a free legend if you don't have all the legends, but honestly, it doesn't really seem too rewarding if you're already a player of the game. It kind of just seems like a gimmick to get people to come back and play the game. I do get it, but it would be nice to have something a little bit more interesting for a 3-year anniversary of the game being out. You know, it's been 3 years and we're just getting a couple of cosmetics. I don't know. I just wish there was more, I guess. Maybe we will get more and they haven't announced it yet. Who knows? And finally, just my thoughts on the season. I'm pretty excited for the legend. I'm excited for Olympus to come back and the map adjustments. I'm not too excited for the new LTM control. I really wanted more LTMs, and I even said this in past videos, but I wanted LTMs to be more involved with the Battle Royale, not just a completely new mode that's not really around their premier game mode, which is the Battle Royale. You know, I will play Control. I will probably like it, honestly, because it is going to have respawns, but overall, I'm a little bit hesitant. I'm a little worried that Control is going to be a little bit too linear, even though it is a respawn game mode. We will have to wait and see. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed that Control is a 9v9 mode when Respawn in the past, like not even that long ago, like 6 or 8 months ago, they said anything over 3-player squads just gets a little bit insane. So now that we're having 9-player teams, it just seems a little bit convoluted because they knew this was coming, you know, even 8 months ago. But regardless, I will play it. I'm gonna see what it's gonna be like, and if it's only limited time and if it doesn't come back in some sort of permanent aspect, then that's a huge flaw in my eyes. You know, you're branding the season as season 12 with a new LTM control, and if nothing comes out of that in the long run, then we're really just getting a new legend and some Olympus map adjustments this season. So that's pretty content light in my eyes. We will have to wait and see. You know, maybe there's other stuff with the anniversary event and stuff they haven't announced. Let me know in the comments down below what part you are most excited for about that new season. And of course, I have been streaming, guys, on my second YouTube channel, TimPro Plays. A link to that is in the description down below and on screen for you. I appreciate the support. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video or if you want to support me. And until next time, everyone, happy gaming.